Welcome back to The Real Deal with Empire, the podcast where we go beyond the transaction. It's about transformation. And I'm your host, Ali Fawaz. And today we've got something special lined up for you. We're talking about opportunity, education, and the future of real estate. But don't worry, this isn't just going to be another boring industry chat. We're going to get into the real stories, the struggles, the wins, and maybe even a little bit of drama along the way. And of course, before we dive in, please make sure that you're subscribing. The Real Deal with Empire on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, and we're on YouTube. And you don't want to miss what we've got coming up. So let's get into it. Our guest today is someone who's shaking things up in the real estate world, not only in Michigan, but everywhere. Pay attention because this is going to be a game changer. Mustafa Zubaidi he's leading the charge on launching the Empire Institute of Real Estate. And this isn't just another real estate school. It's something that's different. It's about creating real opportunities. It's about people who want to break into the industry and actually win. Mustafa, welcome to The Real Deal.
It's great to be here, Al. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks for making the time. So, first things first, I got to ask you, what's the most stressful thing? What's more stressful? Launching a real estate institute school or buying your first home?
Buying your first home, without a doubt. That's a hell of an experience, man.
Yeah.
What's that term? If you like what you do, you don't feel like you're working.
Yes.
Right.
If you are enjoying what you do for your career, if that's fun to you, then
it's fun. So all the craziness of putting the school together and figuring it all out, trying to get accredited and running around, like it could sound stressful. It does sound stressful, but it's something we enjoy, or at least I enjoy it, and we're happy to do it. But buying your first home, man, that's a stressful experience on both ends. But I'm buying. The people selling the house, the people trying to find the house, the realtors involved, the mortgage. That's it. So,
would you say at that point, is it kind of in the realtor's hands to do a good job to make that process easier? How does that process become easier?
That process becomes easier when everyone knows what they're doing. Anything in life becomes easy when you know what you're doing. If you don't know, it becomes stressful. On the buyer end, a lot of people this is the biggest decision they're making, or at least purchasing decision they make. A lot of people, it's the first time, so you never know. You assume growing up that your home is taken care of. That thing, you don't have to worry about the water heater, the basement, or anything with the walls, any crazy thing you would come up with, the electrical, the heating. You had someone taking care of it. But when it's now you are the one that's going to be in charge, it becomes more stressful. You don't realize how many people are just trying to rip you off, and it's because you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
So it's a good job. This is why I tell a lot of realtors, you need to know your position. And I march people when I'm training them. And I know some people have seen this. They'll be marching around, and I say, you repeat to me what you're supposed to be doing. Your job is the connector. Your job is to connect buyers to sellers, sellers to buyers, landlords to tenants, tenants to landlords. That's your entire job. I like to say most people in real estate, we believe, are like the Empire State Building. It's beautiful. It's magnificent. It's a testament to ingenuity. And everyone likes it. Most realtors think they are the building. And I say, no. You're not even the steel frame holding up the building. You're just that bolt, that little bolt that connects the two steel beams together. If we were, this whole deal of buying a home was the Empire State Building, the final product is the home and the homeowners entering it. That's what you're
the finished thing.
That's the finished product.
I like that.
The steel are the funding, the inspectors, the repairmen, the cities that are involved. You as a realtor are just that little bolt that connects everything together. You seem insignificant, but you play a critical role in holding this whole deal up together. You're connecting, you're making the connections, you're holding it firm. So again, know what you're doing, know what your position is, know what your role is. Even as a buyer, even as for an investor, know what you're supposed to be doing, and everything will be easy. But the minute no one knows what they're doing, that's when it gets wild.
Okay, let's talk about the Institute. There are a lot of real estate schools and classes out there, licensing programs and online courses. Why did you feel that this school needed to happen?
In short, I believe this country deserves a better class of realtor, and I'd like to bring it to them. This isn't just another course where you get certified, get your license, and then go to a brokerage and then just start selling. You noticed in this industry, there isn't a proper training. And even if you go on YouTube and you go to all these things to try to follow these guys, you can barely follow what they're saying. You can barely make out what they're trying to do, and you can almost feel like, well, what's the real job? What do I have to do on a day-to-day basis? People like having a schedule. People enjoy coming into a place and knowing exactly what they need to do, what needs to be accomplished every day. In real estate, seemingly most offices and a lot of firms, and I'm talking about the big name ones, it's just, okay, here's an office, get in there, there's a phone, reach out to some people and let's make it happen. That's not real estate. This is the oldest profession in the world. Everything, I'm talking about wars, I'm talking about family problems, I'm talking about happiness, I'm talking about communities coming together. It all happens through land.
What do you think is missing in real estate education right now?
This, understanding what it is that real estate is. Somehow, because it's so old, it evolves for so long. People have forgotten what real estate is, what you're supposed to do, how it's supposed to be done, at least from the professional side. And I think with this institute, we'll change that for sure, and we'll enlighten people to the way real estate should be done.
Who do you think this is really for? Is it just for people wanting to become agents, or is there more to it?
More to it, definitely. That's speaking broadly, more to it. Right now, it is for people who are interested in real estate, interested in becoming real estate agents. I'm not pushing them to any specific brokerage, but I want you to come out, at least the people that are coming from my institute are going to be people who are well-versed in real estate, well-trained in real estate, that when they go to any firm, they'll definitely see an impact, that these firms are going to see a difference, that realtors licensed from our institute are different, a different breed, a different class of realtors. And real estate, again, we hope we're working with a few institutes now, a few universities that are building a curriculum for us in order to have that. But that's down the line and everything we're working on. So ultimately, it's a very broad school we're building, and it's going to hopefully be for everyone who's really interested in business.
Okay, I got a quick hypothetical for you. If you could have anybody dead or alive as a guest instructor at the Empire Institute, who would it be?
I love it. I would have to be Henry Ford. I'd have to say Henry Ford, and only because I'm reading his autobiography, which is a beautiful book. The man is so forward-thinking. A lot of his stuff, he revolutionized the hospital industry. Hospitals were not the way they were before Henry Ford, and they took over the Henry Ford hospital. Before, you had to pay for almost every little thing. Everything was pay to play. So if you needed a bed, well, you were going to have to pay for it. If you needed a nurse to be there to come check on you, you had to pay for it. You got very basic, back in the day, very basic levels of treatment. So Henry Ford, when he came in, and he took the same ideas and the same principles he implemented to create the assembly line.
Yeah.
And then reversed engineered it to medicine. And he was like, okay, let's figure out the accounting. Let's figure out how we can pay these doctors. Well, what do they really need? What's the salary of a doctor? What's the salary of a nurse? What can we do to get them to work together? Even the beds. The first mechanical beds were made by Henry Ford.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the movable hospital beds, as we know today, that were first designed by his people, his engineers. He took people out. Well, this is the beauty of it. He took people outside of like regular engineering or regular fields of trade, and then put them in a completely different industry and said, utilize whatever knowledge you have in that. I mean, even his friendship with Edison, he's a very interesting person. I think Henry Ford for sure is very interesting, and someone. It's a delight to study him. Read the autobiography.
When you talk about innovation, really, it's like Henry Ford and innovation go hand in hand. And I think the industry itself, the real estate industry itself, it's going through this transitional phase, this innovative phase that I think is pushing. It's pushing the industry forward, but it's also it's leaving some behind. Those who aren't ready, aren't willing, aren't able to change.
For sure.
They're going to be left behind. They're already being left behind now, and we're seeing that happen. And I think being at the forefront of it is critical. So it's good to hear that this is the kind of thing that it's inspiring the Institute. So it's nice. I love that.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, we want to bring a better class of realtors to this stuff, to this country, a better class of business.
All right, let's keep it real. Real estate isn't easy. We know that. Everyone sees the successes, but nobody actually sees the late nights, the grind, the deals that fall through. Like, in your opinion, what's the number one thing that separates the winners from the people who are just fizzling out?
Very good question. The answer is in the question. In the beginning, when you said
Very philosophical. I like it.
we got a little deep. The part that's unseen should remain unseen. You don't go to your butcher. There's that one funny line you told me. When you don't.
So for those of you who are wondering, if you've ever watched Tommy Boy, you probably know the reference. I can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a bull's, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it.
Yeah, so you work hard to be that butcher. you learn what you need to do. Yes, there's long nights in every industry. There's long nights in every work, man. Even before, when you were in marketing, right, and with these big companies, late nights, you're getting these random consultants, right? Even us, we would get all this crazy. But the class, the thing that separates the successful from the unsuccessful, are the ones that understand that part needs to be hidden. I'm going to hide it, and I'm going to brush it off, walk around. Everything's cool. All is good. Some things need to stay hidden, and it's again about knowing. If you know that what you should do, you'll be fine. If you know that you should be hiding this, the late night grind, don't let people know. They shouldn't know. They should see the final product, because that late night grind is you putting work into yourself. Yes, we should see the final product. I want to make it. It should be something hard to attain when you see someone who is successful. It should look like it's something that's almost magical. That's something that happened out of nowhere, you know?
So if I'm hearing you correctly, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but so the question is, what separates those who are winners from those who are fizzling out? You're saying the winners are the ones who are doing the late night grind, staying up. They're not letting you see it.
But they're mentioning it.
And they're not mentioning it. So it sounds like they're creating this perception that, real estate's simple. Anybody can do it. Yes. So then you jump in, and then you don't do the late night grinds, and you fizzle out.
You watch basketball?
Of course.
Yeah. LeBron, you watch these guys, Stephen Curry. I don't know much basketball. But when you watch them play, even me, I'm like, I can pick up a ball and do it.
They make it look easy.
Yes. And that's the key to success. That's it. It's making it look easy. So hide the grind. The successful, grind. Back to Henry Ford, real quick. A beautiful thing he says in his autobiography. He says, the uncrowned king of all success is the ability to have stick-to-itness. Oof. The more you just do it. Yeah, there's going to be late nights. Yeah, there's going to be people who reject you. Yeah, there's going to be people who don't want to work with you. Yeah, there's going to be people who try to cheat you. Yes, there's going to be so many difficulties. Yes, of course.
Stay the course.
That's it.
What do you think is the biggest mistake that new agents make?
I can't tell you what. I'll tell you from my experience, the mistakes I made was, thinking it was the Wolf of Wall Street. Arrogance. walking in there thinking like, all right, we're taking it over. I'm suing you. I'm suing you. What did you say? Put your name on the contract. Man, oh my God. And then walking around like, oh yeah, I know what a FHA PMI is. It's like words, man, it's ridiculous. It's arrogance. Just
So do you think that real estate do you think that real estate's for everyone, or are there certain people who just shouldn't do this?
yes. Well, it isn't for everyone. It seems like it is for everyone. If you look at the field right now, if you look at who does real estate, it almost seems like it. But the 1% that are really successful, they're, how do I say this? It's not for everyone. Not to discourage anyone. Again, I'm not saying this to discourage anyone. I think everyone should try it.
Not everything is for everyone.
Not everything is for everyone, right? It's if you're negatively inclined. And again, I don't mean this to offend anyone, but there are people who are negatively inclined who see the worst in life. If the smallest thing happens, they think it's the end of the world. They see the worst in people. Don't do this. Stay away from this industry, and stay away from this only for your own sake, because it's a very difficult thing you're dealing with here. One, I believe personally that shelter is a human necessity.
Yeah.
And the industry we're dealing with is you got to take that into consideration, that these are people's emotions. These are people's lives. Everyone wants a roof over their head. And it's the happiest day when you've reached success, because you can't really, I tell people, you can't really see success. What you can see are the little sparkles of success. Mm-hmm. And one of the greatest sparkles of success is buying a house, and buying a house for a family member, or buying a house for, to get your family into it, right? Move your wife and kids into it. That's a sparkle of success. So you have to take into consideration that for a lot of people, it's a very big moment to come into real estate, to do real estate. Even the investors, man, taking a risk and taking these crazy debts on. I mean, it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of charisma to even psych yourself out. There's a lot of days where you got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, bro, you can do it. I believe in you. And you're half broken. Like, come on. You're the last line of defense. So if you're negatively inclined, no, stay away. I'm telling you, for your own good. But if you're happy, and if you see the best in people, you're going to be dealing with the happiest moments of people's lives, and you can add to that happiness.
I like it. All right. So before we wrap this up, we've got it's a little game we play here.
I like it.
Actually, it's a new game we play here, so you're going to be our guinea pig.
Let's go.
So it's called Real or Ridiculous. And I'm going to read a statement to you.
Okay.
And you have to tell me if you think it's real advice or it's just ridiculous nonsense. Ready?
Okay. All right. Go for it.
You should get your real estate license even if you don't plan to sell a house.
Ridiculously real. It sounds ridiculous, but it's very real. Very real. Can I explain it?
Go for it.
So there's certain laws. If you're an investor, there's certain amount of houses you can buy a year, certain amount of transactions you can buy a year. A lot of people loophole this by going through LLCs and buy things through different LLCs. But if you don't want to have the hassle of chasing all this paperwork around and all that, investors do this a lot. They'll get their real estate license, work with a firm where they're not going out there publicly and selling and buying or advertising their services. They're just focused on themselves.
Okay. So really, they're using their license just to supplement the investments that they're working on for themselves. They're not working for the Joe public.
Exactly. And so it sounds ridiculous. Like, get your license, pay all this money, and then just sit it. It sounds ridiculous, but it's very real advice for investors. It's smart brokers gearing it towards investors.
Nice. Okay, ready for number 2?
Go for it.
All right. The best way to close a deal is to take your client out for a steak dinner.
No, that's ridiculous. Up to a certain amount of money, it's not ridiculous at all.
All right, last question I got for you. Social media is more important than door knocking in 2025.
Oh, come on. Yeah. It's an evolving industry. Okay, look, I prediction in the next 5 years, you will rarely see anyone making phone calls or soliciting that way. Rarely. Social media will be the dominant.
That's bold. No,
Yeah.
Phone calls? Even?
Phone calls.
Because I think I get the whole door-to-door thing.
Door to door. Okay, door to door. Real quick, you've heard of Gillette,
Of course.
the shaving company.
Yeah, Gillette. Yeah.
So King Gillette, the great grandfather, actually started his business by going door to door. Do you still buy Gillette door to door?
I just got a pack of razors from the door-to-door guy.
Yes.
In fact, my vacuum cleaner. No,
The vacuum guy?
nobody does door-to-door anymore.
It evolves. It evolves.
Yeah.
So everything evolves. Real estate is the oldest industry in the world. One of the oldest industries.
Which is a shock, right? I thought there was another industry that was. We're going to leave that other industry out of this.
Shout out, ladies. It's constantly evolving. Real estate was done at a certain point. I'll give you a brief little insight. I was reading this book. It was about the golden age of Islam, and the author was talking about the Abbasid times when Baghdad was first being built out, and it was an archived letter from one person to a friend of his, and it was a landlord to his friend who was another landlord, and he writes in it complaining to him. He says, I can't understand these people. I set the rules and they don't listen. I tell them to only cook on the top floor, but instead they set fires inside their dwellings and they cook in there. And their kids are constantly plucking holes into the walls and picking out the flowers from the courtyard. It's bringing my property value down. I don't know what to do.
This is how long ago?
This is what's like, oh man, it's thousands of years, roughly about 1,200 years ago. Yeah. If you
Amazing.
Yeah,
and you can still I can still envision these conversations, the same conversations.
Same exact conversations happening. So imagine, that real estate. Well, that I think about that tenant or that landlord that owns that tower that he was talking about in that letter. I wonder how he got it. Do you think his real estate agent called him to sell it as a business?
No, he knocked on his door.
So it evolves. It always evolves.
Or he used Facebook. So we're evolving.
There's a lot of that Facebook marketplace, bro. Those guys are wild. They can't be stopped. But yeah, it's constantly evolving. So I think in the future, it's now the age of social media, and it's going to reign supreme.
Before we wrap up, I guess I want to throw it to you one last time to see if there's anything else that you want to cover, anything you want to talk about that we may have missed here, anything you wish I would have asked you.
No, Al, it's great to be on, man. I know you're doing a lot of great things out in Farmington Hills. How's that coming along?
It's coming. It's we're right around the corner. We're at last leg, as I like to say. So we're starting to recruit for Farmington Hills now.
No, it's outstanding, and I think what you're doing. Kudos to you, man. Kudos to you. It's amazing.
Sir,
it's impressive, and it goes hand in hand exactly what we're doing with the institute.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, Mustafa. So this has been a blast. For anyone who wants to learn more about the Empire Institute of Real Estate, you can actually visit ergselect.com. And we'll be providing updates there, I'm assuming, right?
We'll have more updates soon. Everything gets built out with the curriculum.
Love it. Great.
Amazing.
Thank you again. And for everyone listening, if you found value in today's episode, do me a favor, please. Hit the subscribe button. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And if you're feeling extra generous, drop us a review. Thank you for tuning in to The Real Deal with Empire. Until next time, build something great.
That's amazing. Great work, brother.